There's a thought that some stepmums have. It arrives quietly, usually when things have been building for a while, and it goes something like this. My life would just be simpler if my stepchild wasn't in it. And the moment it arrives, the shame is right behind it. If you've ever had that thought, this episode is for you. Hi everybody, and welcome back to Stepmum Space Listener Questions with me, Katie South, where each week I take one of your questions and talk it through, not just to reassure you, but to help you understand what might actually be happening underneath. As always, names are anonymised, but the feelings are very real. This week's question comes from Jess. She says, sometimes I have a thought that makes me feel awful, that my life would just be simpler if my stepchild wasn't in it. I've never said it to anyone. I don't even like admitting it to myself. Am I a horrible person? Jess, no, you are not a horrible person. And I want to say that really clearly before we go anywhere else on this one. Because I know what happens when that thought arrives. It doesn't just land. It lands, and then you immediately turn on yourself. You tell yourself you shouldn't feel that way, that it makes you a bad person, that if you really loved your partner, you wouldn't think like this. So now you're not just dealing with a hard situation, you're dealing with the situation and with hating yourself for how you feel about it. That's the double spiral, and it's exhausting. Now, here's what I want you to hear. Both things can be true. You can love your partner completely and find the situation you're in genuinely hard. You can care about this child and sometimes wish your life looked different. You can be a genuinely good person and have a thought that you hate. Those things don't cancel each other out. Now, this thought, or something very close to it, comes up a lot in my work with stepmums. And that's not because the women I work with are terrible people. It's because they're human beings in an extremely demanding position with almost no acknowledgement of how demanding it actually is. The thought doesn't necessarily mean you want your stepchild gone. It means you're exhausted or something isn't working. It's a signal. It's not a definition of who you are. So where does that thought come from then? Well, as a stepmom, you are often someone who is deeply invested, but has limited control. Decisions get made without you, plans change at someone else's say-so, and you carry an enormous amount of the emotional weight, but without a defined role, clear authority, or consistent acknowledgement. And when you carry that much for that long, with that little recognition, resentment builds. And this is what happens to people who give a great deal and receive very little back. It's not about the child. It's about the position, the weight of that position, the invisibility of it. And once you understand that, the question stops being, what's wrong with me? And starts being, what is this position costing me? And what needs to change? Now, if what I've just described sounds familiar, the resentment, the guilt about the resentment, the spiral, I've got something for you. It's a free private podcast episode. It's called Why Stepfamily Life Takes Over Your Head and the One Shift That Starts to Change It. In it, I go deeper on exactly this. What's actually driving the mental load, the resentment, the guilt spiral, and one practical shift you can start using today. There's also a journaling sheet that goes with it. You can get both of these free at stepmumspace.com/shift. Just pop your email in and it comes straight to you. So Jess, and anyone else sitting there with that thought right now, the fact that this question has even been weighing on you tells me everything I need to know about who you are. Because horrible people Do not worry about whether they're horrible. I'll be back next week with another listener question. Till then, take care. And before we finish, if you're listening to Stepmum Space and recognising yourself in the constant adjustment, the walking on eggshells, the anticipatory anxiety before contact, or the way one message can derail your whole week, that doesn't make you weak. It's a position many stepmums find themselves pulled into inside complex stepfamily systems, and it's more common than people realise. Back in Control is my structured programme for stepmums who are ready to move out of chronic vigilance and into steadiness inside their own home. It's psychologically grounded, contained, and designed specifically for stepfamilies where dynamics feel destabilising. If you're ready for more than just insight, search Stepmum Space Back in Control and you'll find the details. Back in Control, structured support for stepmums who are done walking on eggshells and are ready to feel steady again.